Hey, look, the heating guys are here. I am 4 years in right now to this awful, wonderful project. This house is a long way from where it was, obviously, when I started 4 years ago. Everybody, including me, thought it would be a teardown until I got my head around each part of the house, from the roof, the missing roof, to the cracked foundation, and resolved in my head how I was gonna engineer the repairs before signing on the dotted line. So yeah, here's what one old geezer can do in 4 years, pretty much by himself. Well, I still have this rotation going each day, of starting out in the morning with a couple of hours of installing hardwood floors until it gives me a backache. And then switching over to working on the walls, finishing the walls, drywall, taping, and then priming and painting. And then late in the day or on the weekend, getting to the woodworking, which is my favorite part. That's what I call the fun stuff. So it's all moving along. The walls and ceilings are just about done. I'm hoping to have everything painted on the interior by the first day of spring. The floors will take a little longer, the hardwood floor installation. But then I move to trimming out the windows and doors, and installing the built-ins, like the big dish cupboard back here and so on. The heat is on in here. I'm so excited. So I've been working on the interior of the fireplace, the mantle, and the fireplace surround. Here's what I have so far. Check this out. A few days ago, we opened up the house so our neighbors could come in and see the progress over the last 4 years since acquiring the property. And one of my neighbors sat here and asked me about the specific design of the fireplace. And so I was able to share with him some of the stuff that I had learned back when I was in college studying architecture back in the dark ages, and how much of modern architecture, and especially Victorian architecture, was inspired by ancient Greek architecture. And so this design looks familiar because we've seen it everywhere. We've seen it especially in the Greek Parthenon. So there are components like the base, the column, the capital, the architrave, the frieze, and then repeated architrave, frieze again, and then the cornice. And of course, this doesn't have the pediment, which is the gable part of the Parthenon. But in Washington, D.C., a lot of the buildings are patterned after the Greek, the classic architecture. And actually, the U.S. Supreme Court building is a copy of the Parthenon. So that's kind of cool. My fireplace design is like 3,000 years old. That's fun. So if you walk around this neighborhood, you're going to see a lot of Victorian houses that have these architectural components, and the chimneys as well. So why is it repeated? Why is it so popular? Why am I doing this now? I'm loving going back and recreating, restoring the beauty of the Victorian architecture. So I think these patterns are repeated because they are inherently beautiful. You look at Victorian houses and you go, wow, it's pleasing to the eye. And so the designers 3,000 years ago had already figured out what was pleasing to the human eye, and that's how they came up with that hierarchy. And I mean, what is it in us that looks at a puppy and says, oh, that's cute? Immediately say, oh, that's cute. I don't know, there's something in us that recognizes what's beautiful and what's not. This stuff is beautiful. And if you go outside and look at the exterior of this fireplace and chimney, you'll see that the basic hierarchy, the architectural hierarchy is there too. It's just repeated like 3 times in the chimney, right up to the cornice at the top of the chimney. Sorry for all the philosophizing if that's not what you're here for. I'll get back to the nuts and bolts of this project in a minute. Another of our neighbors who is a professional musician just said he just posted a song that he thought was appropriate to our situation here too. Renewing old stuff, making it new. I will post the link in the video description below to his music. So I have a fireplace now, and I'm gonna make some more fireplace kindlers. These I've been doing for camping and fireplaces all my life pretty much. Paper egg crates, my family saves these paper egg crates, and old candles. So I fill the egg crates with sawdust from under the table saw, and then melt paraffin, old wax, and pour it over the whole thing to get fireplace kindlers. And I've got several bags of the cast off wax from next door. Flint Candle Company is headquartered in the house next door. So they are giving me their unwanted wax as well. Here's an old pillar candle sideways. I think I'm going to cut that in half on a saw. This hot plate is perfect for this because if I set it on medium, it never overheats. If I happen to walk away and, because there is a risk of the wax catching fire if it gets too hot. So with these little waxes from the candle company, I guess my fireplace kindlers are going to be scented as well. It's a bonus. Aroma of up north campfire. There we go, 6 dozen kindlers. When you get ready to start a fire, you just break off one of the eggs, so to speak, put it in the fire against the first log, light it up, it'll burn for 10 minutes while you're getting the rest of the kindling on there. On the fourth and but especially Greek architecture,